Hi all, so welcome to this channel once again, and in this session I will present this UDTF, basically writing UDF as SQL function, that is SQL table function, or you can say SQL table UDF. So here I'm gonna presenting the non-pipeline table function. It has two kind, non-pipeline and pipeline. So I'll be presenting you the pipeline table, non-pipeline table function here. So that is non-pipeline UDTF. Now earlier I created videos on SQL UDFs. Now this video is based upon the SQL UDTF. So there I'm returning some result, but here I'm returning the table. So how we can achieve this, let me show you. So you can see this was the table which I am taking as a reference, which I am using to show you the demo. So this table has some data in it. So the data is like ID and name. Here you can see IDs are odd or even in number. So basically I'm writing this UDTF to get whether the number ID is odd or even, or I'm passing some IDs to this. So let's see what UDTF I have written here. So this is the first UDTF whose name is odd IDs. So basically it returns me a table containing the odd IDs. So pf1_d contains every ID, whether it's an odd or even, but I need a UDTF which contains only the odd IDs. So let's see how I can create this. So here you can see whenever I am creating this UDTF, so first I am using create function and then the function name same as the UDF. Now it does not take input any parameter, so no parameters here as an input, but it returns a table. So it returns a table, and then what I need to do is to give or provide the fields with what it returns. So whatever fields it would be returning, I have to provide it here, like ID as integer. I'm also returning a flag, odd flag, whose length would be 3 ODD, and name as cal10. That is from the pf1_d table. So these two are there in the pf1_d table, but this is not present in that table. This column is not there. So what I am doing here, begin and end for this SQL function. Here you can see I am using return with the query, select query. So whenever I am using the return with the select query, then it means it's a non-pipeline function. So non-pipeline table function, it's a non-pipeline table function. So I am basically returning select ID comma then this odd flag, odd comma name from pf1_d. Since this is not a column in the table, so I am always returning the odd ID, so I am taking this as a constant from pf1_d where ID in, so the ID must be odd. So where ID in, select ID from pf1_d where modulus of ID 2 means this is the dividend and this is the divisor. So ID divided by 2 must be equal to 1, that is the remainder must be 1 of this ID, then it means that this is a odd ID. So I am basically returning all the odd IDs details. So let me first compile this or create this function. So I can create this function using RUNSQL statement command. So this is UDF source file, easy class 1 is the library and UDF2 is the source member. So this is now created. Just do work obj odd IDs, that's what the name of the function is, SQL function. So you can see the service program object gets created for that, whose attribute is CLE. And if you look at DSP SRVPGM for this odd IDs, so you'll find the information that what procedure it is gets created. Odd IDs _1 is the procedure. Now the entry has been made in the sysfunc table, select star from q sys2 dot sysfuncs. So let's function name is odd IDs. So you can see the function UDTF is created in easy class 1, and this is an SQL UDTF. So it's basically calling this service program procedure this. So that's what gets created when you execute the RUNSQL statement. So this is all the definition of this. Now let me show you select star from pf1 underscore d. So it has all the IDs 1 2 3 99 101 and 106. So it has even and odd IDs as well. So this is odd. So 1 2 3 and 4 are the odd IDs and 2 are even IDs. So let me tell you how we will be executing this UDTF. So select star from, so UDTF means that SQL table function, UDF table function must always come in the from clause of a select statement. So table, so starts with the table, then here I need to give the starts the bracket and then give the function name UDTF name odd IDs. Now then start, if there is any parameter which it takes as an input, I need to pass that. So this UDTF is not taking any input parameters, so just close it. Then this table function bracket gets closed. Now give it a name. So this, suppose select star from pf1 underscore d is a table, so this is also becomes a table. Just make it as an table, let's say x or y, whatever you want. Now just press enter, you will see only those IDs which are odd now. So I'm not querying to pf1 underscore d now, which returns me all the sets of IDs either odd or even, but I'm now calling a table function, that is an UDF table function, user defined table function based upon this table, which returns me only odd IDs. So I'll be using this. Now the same way, let me show you the other thing. So here you can see this is an even IDs UDTF, which returns me the same ID as integer, odd flag, or let me say odd or even anything else flag, or you can change this. It's not an odd flag, it's an even flag now. Even flag char 4, name char 10, so begin return. So it's a non-pipeline, so it will use return in the select query, non-pipeline table function. Select ID even name from this, where ID in select ID from this, where modulus of ID comma 2, that is divided by 2, must be 0. So if remainder is 0, then it means it's an even. So, and you must end this with semicolon, else you won't be able to compile. So let's compile this as well. So what I'm gonna doing is using the same RUNSQL statement command, but the source member this time is UDF3. So let's check even IDs. You can see the service program gets created successfully. Now just ESP SRV PGM. You can see the even IDs underscore 1 is the procedure name. Just check the same thing with the sysfunc table as well. You'll find the entry. Now this time you can see this is calling this service program procedure. Now if the same way I'm calling this function, select star from table, but this time I am using even IDs. So this again won't take any input parameter, so I'm calling the same way. So this function gives me the even IDs from that pf1 underscore d table, and this function gives me the odd IDs from that table. So basically I'm not now querying or applying any select where clause on that table or using that module function. I've already written that. I've already written a table function over that, and now I'm using this table function. So this makes my work task easy, or it is now become reusable for every other person who wanna get those details based upon even or odd IDs. So they don't have to write the query again and again, they just have to execute this table function and get their desired result. So this way you get the even and odd IDs. Now let me show you one more UDTF which I have written here. Now this time this UDTF accepts one number that is of integer type, and it returns the same things which other UDTFs are returning, that is ID, or this one would be the, let's say this is a flag, not odd or not even, it can be anything. So because it's accept and number and it returns all this information, now here you can see begin and end, and this is a non-pipeline table function. So select ID and select this flag. So the flag can be either even or odd. So where in that case I need to use the case clause. So case when mod id2 equals to 1, then odd means if the remainder of id is 1, then it's odd, else it's even, and end of the case statement. Now comma name. So I'm selecting all these things from the pf1 underscore id where id equals to, now I have to pass where id equals to number. So number is what I am getting as an input parameter. So let's create this function as well. This time the source member would be UDF4. Now just check ID details, since this was the function, SQL function. So you can see the service program is there, DSP SRV PGM. Now you can see ID details underscore 1 is the procedure name. After this, now the same thing I can verify from here as well, ID details. So you can see this is calling the procedure of ID detail service program. Now how I'm gonna call this, select star from pf1 underscore t. So this is the table. So I need to get any data from here. Let's say for ID 99 I wanna get. So now I'm not gonna use this thing, I can use the table function, table ID details comma. Now I have to pass the input parameter. So it accepts only one input parameter, that is a number. So I would pass 99 here, and then it's closed. Then give it an alias table name, let's say y. So you can see the result. I'm getting only 99, and I'm also getting the flag, that is it's an odd ID, and the name as well. Now if I pass, let's say 1 here, so I'll be getting 1, this is an odd, and name 1. If I pass, let's say 2, so you are getting the 2 ID, and that's an even number, and name 2. So this way you are getting the things. If you pass any number which is not existed in that table, let's say 7, you won't be getting any result in that case. Now what you can do, just take F4. You can also apply the where clause in this case. Let's say you won't be able to see this thing. Let's say ID where let's say 2 was this one. So if I would apply to where clause here, I won't be since only I am getting the one result, so there's no means to apply where clause. Let's see other UDTF which I just created, that is odd IDs and odd even IDs. So this was an odd ID, so I want to apply the clause here, like where clause here as well. I can apply. So let's say I want to apply on the ID, let's say greater than 99, where ID is greater than 99. So I would be getting only 1. So now I can also apply the clauses, where clauses onto the table function itself. So this way you can create table functions, SQL table functions basically. This is not an external one, this is an SQL table function, and how you can execute them. So this video tells about all these things, so you can get a brief idea from the starting. So those who are beginners, they will get a much detail from here, and they will have some hands-on in creating or executing the SQL table functions by their own. So thank you and have a nice time.